Welcome back to day 3 of Rally Sweden for what's been one of the most dramatic events in recent history. It all started before the rally even began as the weather proved to be unseasonably warm, meaning a lack of snow and ice on the stages. Chris Atkinson was the first to suffer as he was sucked into a melting snowbank, beating the car and losing over 15 minutes, effectively ending any hopes of a decent result. But the biggest shock came on stage 4 as the world champion Sebastian Loeb was also caught out as he clipped the snow on the inside, flipping his C4. He too became stuck in the wet snow, losing almost 4 minutes, but also damaging both the clutch and the engine. He made it to remote service, but desperate repairs proved useless as he retired on the way to the following stage. He did Super Rally, but a speeding ticket and then another retirement with mechanical problems has made this a rally to forget for the Frenchman. He wasn't the only driver to struggle. Local hero PG Anderson's engine expired, bringing his rally to a premature end too. Estonian Ermo Arber is making his debut in a Citroën C4, but he went off on stages 4 and 7. One man to master these tricky conditions was Ford's number 2, Jari-Matti Latvala. He made the most of a good running order on the opening day to blast through the clearing stages to lead the rally after the second stage, and he's led ever since, extending the gap between himself and the chasing pack on day 2. But it hasn't been without incident, as even he has been surprised by the changing grip levels. He starts today with a 50-second lead and is set to become the youngest ever winner of a WRC event. Mikko Hirvonen hasn't been able to match his teammates' pace and hasn't enjoyed the unpredictable stages. He's second overall, and with Loeb's retirement is on course to take the lead in the championship. Henning Solberg in another Ford found himself battling with his Stobart teammate Gigi Gali for third. The Norwegian was pushing hard and came close to disaster on the opening day. A puncture on day 2 saw him lose third to Gali, and then he pushed a little too hard on stage 11, spinning off and smashing the car into a bridge. That left Gali in third with no chance of catching Hirvonen and little threat from behind. The Italian will be delighted to finish in this position to give him his first podium since Argentina in 2006. Petter Solberg has gradually made his way as high as 4th, making the most of the misfortune of his fellow drivers. The Norwegian is counting the days until he receives his new version of the Impreza, but for now he's just happy to be scoring points. Another to benefit from the high number of retirements is Britain's Matthew Wilson. He starts today in 5th, but will need to fight as he's being chased by another young Scandinavian. Norway's Andreas Mikkelsen is being coached by 5-time Rally Sweden winner Marcus Gronholm, and it looks like it's working. The 18-year-old starts today just 10.5 seconds behind Wilson. So with 1 day to go, Jari-Matti has a comfortable lead. Hirvonen is second with Gali in third. Petter Solberg's a minute behind Gigi, but the big battle for today will be between Wilson and Mikkelsen. The final day is made up of 6 stages and 97 competitive kilometres, once again based around Hagfors, an hour's drive north of Karlstad. So Latvala will be hoping he avoids any late dramas as we move on to the final day's action. With a helpful buffer of just under 50 seconds, his first rally win is now within touching distance. Latvala has little to gain but everything to lose by pushing too hard. Similar conditions to yesterday here, very little snow and ice on the road. The Finn will need to maintain his focus all day on this changeable surface. Second on the road on the final morning is Latvala's senior teammate Mikko Hirvonen. For Hirvonen, the objective now is to hold position and get to the finish. It's a fairly rapid start to the day for Mikko though. He set an average speed of 115 kilometers an hour in here. As in Monte Carlo, we've seen a controlled, calm performance from Gigi Gali this weekend. The Italian is renowned for his extravagant style, but his new focused approach is proving very effective. He's on course for his first podium finish with Stobart Ford on just his second rally with the team. And it's surely now just a matter of time before Petter Solberg gets back to regular top 3 finishes.
Into the crest, 100. Flat small crest, 120. Flat crest, 200.
It's a good start to the final day for the Norwegian, the second fastest on stage 15.
And 5 left. Tightens 4 half long. Tightens.
Back with Latvala now, though. He's been talking about maintaining his concentration on this final day, and that is the key. No mistakes, and his first win will become a reality this afternoon. It's a case of 1 stage down, 5 to go for Jari-Matti.
There was quite a lot of travel on the road, but it seems that the tire was working still well in these difficult conditions, but everything is okay. I'm quite relaxed.
A very calm rally leader there then, but further back, 2 young guns are fighting it out for 5th. 21-year-old Matthew Wilson is the driver currently occupying that position, but he begins the final morning just 10.5 seconds ahead of 18-year-old privateer Andreas Mikkelsen.
Left 30, crest 15, care right 5 minus, keeping on the crest, 120.
The Norwegian driver is being coached by 2-time world champion Marcus Gronholm, who is here to assist his protege this weekend. Andreas had several runs in a privately entered Ford Focus last season and is being touted as a potential star of the future. He's already on course for his best ever finish, but can he make up another position here? No, he's 4 seconds slower than Wilson and slips to 14.5 behind overall.
You know, today the tires were going off quite quickly, and it was quite hard to drive the car, and so, you know, we didn't take any major chances. You know, I want to get to the finish of this rally as well, so we'll just continue and find the rhythm and see how it goes.
One of the drives of the weekend, meanwhile, has to go to Danny Sordo. After starting the rally with a 5-minute time penalty for replacing the engine he damaged in Monte Carlo, the Spaniard was way down in 60th after stage 1. He's now up to 7th and on course to score 2 championship points. Sordo, Suzuki's Tony Gardemeister still occupies the final point-scoring place, but out front the 3 Fords are still looking comfortable, with Latvala leading the way, Hirvonen second, and Gigi Gali in 3rd. Latvala is now 5 stages from his first ever WRC win, but there's still a battle to be decided for 5th as Matthew Wilson tries to hold off Andreas Mikkelsen. Welcome back to the final day of the Swedish Rally, where Jari-Matti Latvala is now just 5 stages away from becoming the youngest ever winner of a WRC event. The rally leader is on his way into the final 2 stages before the last remote service stop, and he's continuing to maintain his pace. It may seem like a strange tactic to keep pushing with such a healthy lead, but he's obviously more comfortable keeping this rhythm that has served him so well so far this weekend. The Finn sets the 2nd fastest time in stage 16, so he's finishing with a flourish today, and his teammate Mikko Hirvonen has simply had no answer for his young compatriot's pace. Hirvonen slower than the leader again on stage 17, but it's all about getting to the finish and securing 8 championship points. These have been very difficult conditions this weekend, but one thing all the leading drivers have in common has been their ability to come through these treacherous roads unscathed. Gigi Gali further secures his podium place by beating 4th place Petter Solberg again in stage 16. Although that's a lucky escape for Gigi there, bouncing off the snowbank. That could have been a lot worse. On the following test, though, it's Solberg's turn to stage a mini fight back. Subaru's number one claims a few seconds back on the man in third, but the deficit to Gali is still just under 55 seconds. Back to that fight for fifth now, though, and Matt Wilson has continued his strong start to the final morning.
Crest 30, late right 5 minus in.
After two top 5 finishes late last year, a good result here would be another step in the right direction. Matt beats Andreas Mikkelsen again in stage 16.
Right 2 minus continues. 50.
The gap between these two youngsters going into the final stage before another remote service is now up to 15.8 seconds. So can the Norwegian fight back in stage 17? Well, this is looking very good for the Norwegian here. That's a great drive from Andreas. He's just under 8 seconds quicker, and the gap between them is halved. With just 3 stages remaining, this fight could go right down to the final kilometre.
Andreas, a great time in there. Now only 7.9 between you and Matthew. 2 stages this afternoon. You got to go like mad.
Yeah, well, we had a really good rhythm in there. You know, the car is working very good, and you know, it's hard to say if I want to try. Of course, I want to try and take Matthew, but you know, I have to think I've never been in the points position before, and you know, it's something new for me to be in 6th place, and of course 5th place is better, but you know, still 6th place is very good. But we'll try. We'll definitely try.
There is now just 7.9 seconds between Wilson and Mikkelsen in that fight for 5th. Behind them, Sordo and Gardemeister remain in the final points positions, and the 3 Fords still lead the way. A remote service stop at Hagfors nets a chance for the drivers to get watered and fed. And there's an extended break for the crews as stage 18 has been cancelled due to a lack of snow. So that's great news for Jari-Matti as he only has 2 stages to complete.
Jari-Matti, you said to me yesterday that you were a little bit nervous yesterday morning. How are you feeling this morning?
No, once again I was a little bit nervous, but not as bad as yesterday morning. And but it's always, you get the good feeling when you get the start line, and you know that soon you can go, and when you get the start the drive, you know how car is controlling and brakes are working, so then you get the confidence.
Are you thinking about your first podium in 2 years?
Yes, I have to be honest, since yesterday, but now it's still 2 stages to go, and yeah, we must be concentrated.
I think we can do it. I mean, the second one that we're going to go and do now, I think I can do it in there. It's just a case of the long one. I mean, he went very well in there. But if I can improve the first half, then I think we should be all right.
It's straight on to stage 19 then, so even less kilometres for rally leader Latvala to negotiate. And Jari-Matti continues his relentless charge to that record-breaking win. Again, the stages are almost entirely clear of snow on the afternoon's repeated runs, but Pirelli's new snow tyres have held up remarkably well despite the lack of ice and snow this weekend. Latvala beats his teammate Hirvonen yet again on stage 19. While Norway's Petter Solberg is also making a late surge at what is the closest he gets to a home rally. The all-new Impreza cannot come soon enough for the former world champion, but in the meantime, it's been a promising start to the new season, with his 5th place finish in Monte Carlo looking to be followed up by 4th here in Sweden.
6 left plus 6 right to the crest, the slow line into 6 left minus of the crest, extra long, tightens minus, and 5 right plus oblong.
Petter is beaten by only his brother Henning in this stage.
Keep in and opens of the crest, 100, keep right to the crest, unseen, 5 left plus oblong, tightens 4.
And let's get back to that fight for fifth between Wilson and Mikkelsen. It's Stobart VK driver Wilson who's in pole position to secure this place, starting this stage 7.9 seconds ahead.
Max crest 15, left 6 minus in long, 20. Flat crest 20, crest 10, left 3 minus long.
But there is a late disaster for the British driver.
Throttle's jumped to the floor, right 3 minus. Like, what do I do? I don't know. Do you have to reset it, maybe?
A sticking throttle on the rally's penultimate stage leaves him crawling along. This is a disastrous end to what's been a fantastic run. After losing almost 25 minutes, he pulls out of the rally. And that, of course, means that Andreas Mikkelsen will now pass Wilson on the leaderboard. As the Norwegian carefully negotiates this bumpy stage, he'll soon know that claiming fifth has suddenly become an awful lot easier. He was already on course to score his best ever result, so passing Wilson is an unexpected bonus. Wilson out then, everyone behind gains a place on the leaderboard. Mikkelsen is the first beneficiary, up to 5th position, with Sordo 6th and Tony Gardemeister up to 7th for Suzuki. Leading PWRC driver Juho Hänninen moves into the final point-scoring place. There is only one stage between Jari-Matti Latvala and a record-breaking WRC victory. It's coming up after the break. Welcome back to Rally Sweden. There's one more stage to go, but before we rejoin the action, let's catch up with some of the crews lower down the order. Henning Solberg was on course for third before that big off yesterday saw him drop out of contention. He's super rallying today and wins the first 5 stages, proving the point that he has the speed and just needs to work on the consistency. Chris Atkinson is another driver to have ruined his rally with an off. The Australian beached his car in a snowbank on stage 3 and lost 15 minutes. He's worked his way back up, but he's still only 22nd overall, but he does at least stand to claim the last manufacturer's point for Subaru. Has had an eventful rally, at one stage even parking his new C4 in a stream on the side of the stage. But experience is the key in Sweden, so the Estonian has super rallied. He's 20th overall. Comrade Rauterback hasn't had it all his own way either.
We're going to have to stop.
We're going to have to go, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you want to do it? You might be quicker.
No, you have to do it.
Okay, yeah.
The Zimbabwean managed to crash his Citroen Zara on the road section on the way to stage 9 yesterday. He isn't having much luck today either, as he has to stop to remove some snow that's blocking the air intake. Al-Qasimi in his Abu Dhabi-backed Ford Focus has never driven on snow before, and despite a couple of small offs yesterday, he'll be happy to have made it to the end of the rally. On to the final stage of an incident-filled Swedish rally then. The second run through the Rammen stage will conclude the event. And what a dominant display it's been from Jari-Matti Latvala. He's now just 22 kilometers away from writing himself into the history books. There are no late dramas for 2003 world champion Petter Solberg. He's not been a match for the leading drivers, but his reward for a consistent mistake-free run this weekend is 4th place. While Gigi Gali edges ever closer to scoring the second podium finish of his career and his first for 2 years. We can expect the Italian to feature strongly this season, and who knows, on this form, a first ever win may be a possibility. When he crosses the finish line, Gali and co-driver Giovanni Bernicini are absolutely delighted.
Gigi, it's 3rd place. It's a great moment, really.
Yes, of course. You know, when I was at the school, I was unhappy when the professor said me 3, but today I'm happy because I'm 3.
The Swedish Rally was one of the events where Mikko Hirvonen had hoped he could challenge for victory. The need to win became less important following Sebastian Loeb's non-score, but he was never really a match for his young teammate. As it is, another second-place finish ensures he takes a handy early season lead in the Drivers' Championship. Back with Latvala now, he's on course to become the youngest ever driver to win a World Rally. The previous holder of that record was fellow Finn Henry Toivonen, who won the 1980 Rally GB aged 24. A couple of months shy of his 23rd birthday, Latvala beats that record by 2 years. It's a career-first WRC victory for Jari-Matti Latvala and co-driver Mika Anttila, and understandably, it's an emotional moment for the young Finnish crew.
Jari-Matti, this day will stay with you for the rest of your life. So the youngest ever winner of a World Rally.
The guy who was before me was Henry Toivonen, and he was 24 years old, and he is a big idol of me. And in my secret mind, I have been thinking that I want to beat this record, and actually we did it, and we did it here in Sweden. It's unbelievable feeling. Such a difficult Monte Carlo start, and you know, it's amazing how good feeling it was driving this rally.
Can you express your feelings?
Mikko Hirvonen is the first to congratulate Jari-Matti. And he is quickly followed by Latvala's father. Memorable scenes at the end of this stage. So a landmark victory for Jari-Matti Latvala as he heads those trio of Fords home. His winning margin nearly a minute, but it's those 10 points that he collects that are of most significance. And with Sebastian Loeb not scoring, Mikko Hirvonen will be very satisfied with his 8 points for second. And Jari-Matti's achievement means he was the unanimous winner of the Abu Dhabi Spirit of the Rally Award. His team boss Malcolm Wilson handing over the trophy, and it looks like he's discovered another fast Finn.
I was very confident to win a rally during the season, but I really expected it to be the latter half. But you know, he led from the start. Okay, the pressure was eased somewhat once Sebastian went and Mikko eased off the pressure. But to have the pressure of, you know, leading for 3 days, the fact of being the youngest driver ever to possibly win a World Rally, and obviously thinking about the manufacturer points from Ford point of view, then he was under a lot of pressure, and to deliver it in the style and the way that he's done it is it just shows what the future really holds for him.
Latvala's win takes him level with Sebastian Loeb in the Drivers' Championship, but with back-to-back second-place finishes, Mikko Hirvonen now has a clear lead.
You come away from here leading the championship. You've never done that before, have you?
Oh, never done it, and it feels good, I have to say. And 6 points now in front of Jari-Matti and Sebastian, so it's very good. Okay, it's still early in the championship, but still leading, never done it before, so it's a very good start.
And the Ford 1-2 means they take the lead in the Manufacturers' Championship. 10 points behind are both Subaru and Stobart, while Citroën are down in 4th. And the French team will want to turn that around at the next event, Rally Mexico. You can watch a preview on the official website, WRC.com. Plus, you can relive some of the best moments of Jari-Matti Latvala's Swedish Rally. And there's every WRC driver over Collins Crest. But now it's time for Jari-Matti Latvala to celebrate his very first WRC victory, and at the young age of just 22, it surely won't be his last.
Poca tensión, situar por aquí a fondo, 60.